So last night I had a bit of an epiphany. Oh, I get a few of those, I think. So I was, well, actually, was it day before? Day before yesterday, I was going over a lot of my old archive stuff, and I've got a premiere in about 50 minutes or so. Anyway, if you're watching this, it'll probably already happened. So it's point me saying 50 minutes. But anyway, so when I dismantled, I've just had a kebab actually. I'm just trying to wash it down. It's a bit heavy. So when I was dismantling that earlier device, which I call the Bubbleator, which is just a nickname really, because it's basically a balanced rotary transformer that's actuated by two rotors. And I, at the time, it was a few years back, I dismantled it because I needed the wire, because at the time I was really hard up, and obviously I wouldn't have had to dismantle it if I'd had more money in my pocket. So yeah, this is what happens, you see, when you're trying to stretch every penny, right? So anyway, I dismantled that. I've still got all the parts, well, the cores and everything, I think, as far as I'm aware. So I stripped it down, and it was only years later that it occurred to me the reason why, when I did that load test, which is in the playlist to do with the highlights, you know, I've got this playlist that says all my best highlights, and it's in there. It's quite long actually, but I did a lot of tests and stuff. But when I actually loaded it down, it didn't slow down at all. It just kept on plodding along. And at the time, obviously I didn't have a lot of voltage there, but it was, I think actually when it was shorted out, it was shorted out about 80 milliamps or something. And looking back on it, a lot of these recent tests and all these other experiments I've been doing in the last 5 years or 4 years since then, I think it's 2017, yeah. Anyway, ever since I did that test, all the recent stuff I've done hasn't performed as well as that one did, as far as not slowing down, and it was a rotary twin rotor system, right? So I have been working out, or the last few days I've been trying to figure out what does that have that my other designs don't have. So what is the missing link, right? So what is the missing link? So I was drawing this up last night because this is what I think's going on. The that little picture there is basically my interpretation of the Lenz effect is being shorted out. Where's my blooming, hang on, I'm trying to find my pointy thing. So, right, so we have the, where is it? Hang on. We had the, trying to get this thing. We had these steel, this is a different one by the way, so it's basically the same. These are magnetic, obviously. So we had some long lamination sticking out the ends here, and we were actuating the core in the middle. Now obviously when you bias that with, say, South Pole, and as it's crossing over to the next pole, see, this pole would create drag, right? As it's leaving, it would create drag, so it would want to stick to it. But because these cores that I had on the arrangement, they were really long, and they went all the way through the back. They were really long cores, and it's premiering anyway. It's going to premiere in about 40 minutes or so. So anyway, it's in the description, the link. Anyway, so if as the rotor was moving, it would, instead of it wanting to stick to that, because what was happening was that the lens effect was shorted out. It was actually not going through the rotor, it was going through the resonant laminations that were going through the side and through the middle, because I had laminations going through the middle as well. This thing keeps sticking to my magnets. So what I drew was this little drawing, right. So what I came up with is if I make, well, upside down now, if I make the equivalent using a thin piece of foil, nanocrystalline foil, instead of having the long steel shanks going all the way down the side, which I'll probably have them anyway, but I'll have the coupling running down the side and through the middle of the core of the bobbin. But what we do is basically have an umbrella, right? So we have an umbrella that goes up at the top, and you say, oh, that's going to short out the output, you're not going to go. Actually, no, because if you remember my experiments previously I did a few years back to do with a magnetic switch, then what you have is a saturation point. When the thin foil, which is shorting out the lens effect through, it's like a bypass, like if you think about it like a motorway, and you've got a bypass that goes where traffic can go one way and other traffic can continue on. Well, think of it similar to that. But so what you have basically is that the magnetic lens effect always wants to take the shortest route. It likes to take the shortest route, and because the rotary system, the rotor magnets are actually moving, they're not permanently, they're only momentarily the short route. But once it gets to a certain point, the umbrella effect becomes the shortest route. So the lens effect will short itself out through that instead of through the rotor, and the rotor would continue on. So that's my theory of what was happening, why it was not slowing down when I put a short circuit on the coil, because it was effectively shorting itself out. And then I thought about that, and I thought, well, is that right? And it occurred to me about another design that I'd seen on the internet to do with a transformer. Right? There was a transformer that was designed. Let me just draw that out. If I can find some bit of paper on here. I'll just do it here. So there was let me just draw this a minute. I'll switch over to the other camera. Right, so there was a transformer that I saw a few years ago. Basically, it was like the core. This is the core, by the way. Right, so we had a core material that was like this, and the main part of the output, part of the coil was, I think it was in here. I think the bobbin was there, something like that. And the actuator that made the transformer resonate was at this end. So you had the input coil over here, right? And then you had your output coil over here, and there, right? Oh, bloody neck. So, flipping security alarms beeping at me now. So what happened was, when you were actuating with this coil, it was short, it was resonating the transformer. Oh, shut up, bloody thing. Right, I bet you can't hear me now because of this thing. Right, so this thing was resonating. Well, the lens effect was shorted out by this part of the core, this bit here that went through, because it took the shortest path. So the lens effect was shorted out by this part here, and this part over here didn't see the short effect, and it was very efficient. So this is similar to a transformer setup. And I thought about that, and I thought, well, that's actually very similar to what's going on with my early Bubbleator, because I had that steel, well, those long rods that were coming through the core material out the middle, and and that was causing the field to short circuit itself, the lens effect to short circuit itself on the front face, and the rotor wasn't being impeded by that. So anyway, I managed to grab that long, very, very long, and there's not much commentary in it, video that I did on live stream 2017. So that very long video is, I don't know, I think it's 2 hours, 3 hours long or something. So if you might need to eat sandwiches, because I didn't really talk in it much, because to be honest with you, when I was doing the live streams, it was mainly to document what I was doing, and it wasn't really all about all the details. But there are parts in there where I was talking about stuff and explaining it, and about the weight of the cores, and the cores actually weighed about 100 grams. So there was some information in there, but it was a bit slim, not a great deal of information in there. But anyway, that premieres on the hour anyway, I'll say. So what, about, from now, it's about half an hour from now. So anyway, I put it on my other backup channel, so you'll have to go and click on the link in the description and go and wait for that to come on. I actually scheduled it a couple of days ago, but there's actually 3 parts of that, by the way. So that's part 1, that's coming up, and then there's part 2 and part 3, and I think there's a part 4. I haven't scheduled those yet, so I've got to upload them onto the other channel and schedule them as well. So you might find it useful, because there's information in there which, well, to be honest with you, I've forgotten a lot of it, to be honest. I've got to watch them all myself again, because there's a lot of stuff in there I forgot. But I do know, I mean, obviously it was my creation, my design and everything. I remember all that, but it was the analysis at the time, my personal analysis of the device at that time, that I had kind of forgotten about, which is the reason why I need to go and watch that. But I think my updated analysis, which is today, is probably more prevalent, because I have actually come to a better understanding of it now. But my initial analysis was in a different light, if you like, if you want to put it that way. It was from a different perspective. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I've got to model this thing. I mean, I've gone through all these different designs, right, the last few days. I've gone through this thing, and now this thing, and these are all ideas that I've been working out. And this, I thought that would work, and then I thought, hang on a minute. This is basically getting to the situation where I have the flux shorted out, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, yeah, that was very effective when you shorted the flux out a bit at the top, you know. And I thought, well, I can do better than that. Well, and this is when I come up with this idea. So I'm working it all out before I model it, because we've got to keep my costs down. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye for now.